you for coming. My name's Maureen. I'm a local councillor in Wigan. Thanks so much for asking me to join you on this Million Women March against the abuse of any kind of abuse against children. The safety and protection of children is everyone's duty. Child abuse can happen anywhere. Institutions, schools, churches, sports clubs. It's not exclusive to any nationality, ethnicity or religion. And all child abuse should be condemned. Yes. All children should be able to grow up in a safe environment, nurtured and protected from harm. Sadly, that isn't the case for some children. Today I'm going to speak about a very specific kind of child abuse. The sexual abuse and torture of mainly young white vulnerable girls, often from troubled backgrounds, by predominantly Pakistani Muslim men. This may be an uncomfortable truth, but it has been brushed under the carpet for too long. Yes. I'm not vilifying any community. We need the Pakistani Muslim community behind us. They need to support us in asking for this inquiry. Because it's a shame on their community too, which most of them don't deserve, the decent, hard-working people part of our community, but they need to condemn these men. Yeah. We've been too scared of condemning this because of fears of accusations of racism. Nobody should be discriminated against because of their ethnicity and religion, but neither should they be exempt from punishment when they commit crimes. These men basically sold these young girls, some as young as 11, into sex slavery in towns and cities across the UK. They chose vulnerable girls, they groomed them, they gave them gifts, then they got them addicted on drugs and drink so they could use them for their obscene purposes. Those who should have been responsible for protecting those young girls turned a blind eye and even covered up for them. The police, social services, schools, children's homes, local authorities and councillors, they all turned away. Some even tried to blame the young girls for their own abuse.
Disgusting!
Some of the young girls were arrested whilst the men were left to walk free. This called them child prostitutes. There's no such thing as a child prostitute, there's just an abused child. This has gone on for decades. Yes, a few of these rape gang members have been jailed, but many have been released and returned to the same towns that their victims live in. However, the vast majority of these gangs have never been prosecuted, and nobody in authority has been held to account. Those few brave people who did try to speak up were vilified and often lost their jobs. Maggie Oliver had to resign from the police force after years of trying to get justice for the victims. She's still trying and offering them support. Tommy Robinson was demonised for speaking out about exposing the gangs. None of the investigations into these gangs has ever been truly effective. Only a full national statutory inquiry can get those girls the justice they deserve. The perpetrators the punishment they deserve, and those who covered up need to be held accountable.
Yes!
This has been one of the biggest scandals and betrayal of vulnerable children our country has ever seen. We need to force the government to hold a full inquiry. Unbelievably, some local councils are still voting against this. A couple of weeks ago I tried to put forward my motion to Wigan Council that they write to the government to demand an inquiry. After 3 hours of speaking about other things, the chair of the meeting said there was no time for my motion, which was probably the most important thing on that agenda. The chair told the councillors to leave the chamber, which they did, despite me asking them to stay.
The
of one Lady Labour councillor. But I refused to be silent and I began to read my motion regardless. This was videoed and it went viral. 2 days later, the meeting was reconvened and my motion was passed. But I still wasn't allowed to read it out. What are they hiding? Those girls' voices should be heard. However, it does show the power of the people. The council were forced into voting for a public inquiry, not because of me, but because of the public outcry they face. Our voices do make a difference. Again, here today, let us demand a full inquiry, make our voices heard. This must never be allowed to happen again, but sadly young girls and boys are still being groomed and raped by the gangs. It needs to stop now, as does all abuse of children. Could I ask all of you, today, sometime this week, please look up and write or email your local councillor. Ask them that you want a full inquiry, statutory, into the rape gangs. So if all of us do it, and we get it is the power of the people. One voice is nothing, but everybody's voices make a difference. Thanks for listening to me, and thanks to you all for turning out today to show your support for any child who's suffered abuse and to try and stop it happening to others. Thank you.